LoreWarrior Armour. Oro Heavy Tank. Overview. Designed specifically to oppose vehicles and aircraft, the Oro is a feared sight on the battlefield. Its presence can provide a decisive edge over enemy troops, making it a tank sought after by commanders as well as a prime target for enemy fire. Capabilities. Built around the rugged G6 fusion power plants, the Oro can attain speeds of upwards of 65 kph, despite carrying more than 25 ton of weapons and armour. The compound 3092/3 ferrofibrous armour allows the tank to sustain considerable punishment, though Innisphere commanders would consider it inadequately armoured when compared to Innisphere tanks of a similar size, such as the Manticore and Pole. The clans consider the armour load a simple statement of the value, or lack thereof, attached to vehicle crews. While the turret-mounted Colibri Delta large pulse laser provides long-range, high-volume fire, the Oro's most feared weapon is the Type J autocannon. Designed to fire both standard and cluster munitions, it's equally effective against mechs, vehicles, and aircraft. The standard rounds can shred even the thickest armour, but the cluster shot is more insidious, sanding off armour and any exposed systems. The movement and control systems of the tank and aircraft are particularly vulnerable to this form of attack, and 1 or 2 hits are usually sufficient to disable them. The limited ammunition storage capacity of the Oro, of only 5 rounds of each type, does force commanders to carefully husband their shots. A nose-mounted medium laser provides a means of defense, even in the event of major damage to this turret. The Oro uses the same targeting system as the Hachiman, though it does lack the necessary hookups for the Artemis control. The Oro is also equipped with a comparable tactical coordination system, but does lack the compartmentalization of the smaller vehicle. In the Oro, the TCS allows the gunner and the commander to assume the other's role in the event that one or the other is incapacitated by combat damage. However, the likelihood of any crew surviving the shrapnel that would result from such a penetrating hit is slim, and both designers and crew have questioned the value of installing such a sophisticated system. Deployment. Originally designed to carry a conventional AC-20, Clan Steel Viper did develop the current version of the Oro as a counter to the air power of the Snow Ravens. Devastatingly effective against aerospace fighters, the new version quickly earned acceptance throughout the clans and was found to be equally useful in other roles. Ironically, Snow Raven fields many of these, mostly at the Raven's Head training facility, where they're used to expose aerospace pilots to tactics for avoiding anti-air fire. So we get into our first 60 ton of the clan vehicles here. This is a tracked movement with a 240 fusion power plant, giving it a cruise speed of 43 and a flank speed of 65 kph. Armour is a compound 3092/3 ferrofibrous, and it's armed with a Series 2D extended range medium laser, a Colibri Delta Series large pulse, and a Type J LBX-20 autocannon. It's manufactured by various groups, and its communication system is the Q2 Block 7, with the targeting and tracking being provided by the Build 2 JRD TTS. Stat-wise, this is another vehicle that moves 4 and 6. With 15 heatsinks, you can carry everything under control. It has 24 armour on the front, 21 on the sides, 18 on the rear, and 22 on the turret, so yes, comparatively quite thin-skinned. The ER medium is located in the front of the vehicle, as you can see next to the driver's port. The large pulse laser is located in the turret, which I assume is the really big looking telescope weapon there, and the LB-20 is obviously the cavernous gun there that's supposedly mounted on this turret. I'm interested in that. It has 10 shots, as it says, located within the body of the vehicle. Visually, don't dislike it. As an anti-air vehicle, bit confused. The traversal of the gun, for instance, to aim up high enough. I'm assuming that this thing would only engage aircraft at very specific ranges, because I don't see how the... I can see how the turret would traverse, but I don't see how the LB-20 would be able to aim up much beyond a certain point. It looks almost like a casemate gun, which obviously has certain benefits and other drawbacks. The idea to suggest that this thing has the capability of engaging aircraft in such a manner visually doesn't make much sense. Unless the part where the gun aims up, unless the turret has limited traversal, which would then mean that there would be a groove inside the hull itself where when the gun aims up, it's basically going into that recess to allow it to aim up higher. Otherwise, it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. The alternative is that there's some kind of intricate system that pushes the gun up, that's built into the chassis or the hull of the vehicle, but still that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense either. I'm just struggling to see how this thing would engage aerospace fighters, because LB-20s don't have phenomenal range, but we're talking about something here that's going to be trying to engage aircraft. So is it only engaging aircraft as they're coming in for their strike, which is very dangerous, of course, especially for a vehicle that doesn't have particularly high amount of armor, and aerospace fighters can, you know, do things like drop bombs, fire missiles alongside all of its typical armament. So it's a tough one. I like the vehicle, as I said, visually, and it's a deadly fucking tank. Obviously, you definitely don't want to encounter this thing up close. But yeah, the LB-20 being used as an anti-air idea, I like the narrative idea. I like the universe idea of this thing being employed in such a manner. It just visually doesn't seem to stand up to that. Someone's probably got an explanation for it in the comments, and I will definitely look at that, and I will heart the one that explains it, you know, and it makes sense and all that good stuff. But currently, I'm struggling a bit with this one. Other than that, though, yeah, it's a decent vehicle. Not every vehicle needs to have all the guns under the sun. This is actually kind of reminiscent of some Innisphere vehicles, you know, having a scant few weapons, but making good use of them, essentially. A large pulse is a pretty good backup weapon to have, especially turret mounted. The medium pulse is, ER medium laser is also good, for just giving you that extra little hit at medium to short range. So yeah, and the LB-20 is still a scary goddamn weapon. Definitely, I could see this thing being better at rumbling in and targeting mechs and tanks that have already taken a hit, and this thing is now going to start firing like it's shrapnel shot, and you're rolling for crits, or you're rolling this thing in and your first round is, you know, boom, solid shot, tearing chunks of armor off, and then switching, and then you're doing a cluster round and hoping you hit the same location, and you're going to go internal. That's where the vehicle becomes very nasty. But yeah, there's the drawback. 60 ton though, not bad. For a 60 ton to have an LB-20, it highlights the absolute terror that the clans are there tech-wise. Because yeah, a 60 ton Innisphere vehicle could mount an LB-20, but it wouldn't be able to mount much else. It wouldn't be able to travel anywhere near as far. I definitely wouldn't have any backup weapons. If they did, it would be very, very minimal. There's a lot of drawbacks. So yeah, I mean, a 60 ton clan vehicle that mounts this gives you an idea of, when you get up there in the tonnage, just how well armed these things will be. But yeah, that's the Oro. As I said, don't like it from the writing perspective of how it's supposed to be anti-air, but I do like it visually. The weapon loadout is great. I wouldn't mind having a mini or two of these. They're pretty cool. But yeah, as always, have a good one. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.